The following program contains a topic which may not be suitable for young viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi there, welcome to Cannabis Conversations, a weekly program that is designed to cure the many curiosities, clear up some of that misinformation, and with any luck at all, fill in the blanks for missing information about cannabis and its consumption. I'm your host, Green Irene. I'm a cannabis author, educator, a coach, and consultant. Here today in the studio, my guest, Ashley Michaud, is a integrative nutritional health coach, and she's here to share her knowledge of a plant-based nutritional diet and cannabis as a superfood. Hi, Ashley. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm really glad you made it. Before we get started, I am going to ask you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about Elemental Growth.
Elemental Growth is a business that I just actually
developed?
Yes, I just recently developed into a website. How it started about 5 years ago now was just trying to get out awareness on herbology and some natural alternatives to everyday things like food and medicine. Over time it's evolved, and now I've also been working with some of the leading experts in nutrition and lifestyle, and yeah, and this is where I'm at now. It's a sorry.
Yeah, no, you. It's where you're at now, and you're doing coaching and consulting.
Yes,
you put out
mentorship programs as well, trying to help other people who are teaching kind of in the field get their businesses up and going, integrate all of these other concepts in, and
now all of these concepts are basically, I mean, your entire life is built upon plant-based nutrition. Yes. And I am so in awe-inspired, I guess that's the word. I'd really like to talk a lot about that today, but before we do, why don't we explain, what is a superfood?
Well, superfoods are incredible. The one, everybody kind of picks different superfoods, you know. For somebody, a superfood might be blueberries. For another person, it's acai berries or moringa tree.
Or salmon.
Or salmon, yes. Well, David Wolfe, the nutrition of nutritionists, he also is a coach for many celebrities and one of my teachers. He says that superfoods are really the vibrant foods that have the most nutrition packed into the least amount of calories. Another thing that is starting to come out now is that not every calorie is the same. So they're not all created equal. You want the most amount of nutrition in each one of those calories. If you're getting your calories from Coca-Cola or from chips or whatever, you know, you're still going to end up eating a lot more of that food because you're not getting the nutrition that you need.
You're not getting the healthy calories, basically.
Yes.
So just like we have some fats or triglycerides. Anyway, yeah. Well, Macmillan Dictionary describes superfood as being very good for your health and may even help with some medical conditions. So although superfood doesn't have an exact definition, people do understand what it is. And that is, it's a plant that provides that nutritional value and a plant that gives us medicinal value as well.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a superfood. What are some superfoods?
So some that I really consider superfoods would be hemp seeds, because it's got all of your 20 amino acids, which actually makes up a complete protein, because it also includes the 8 amino acids that aren't found in food, or our bodies don't actually, they're found in food, our bodies don't make it ourselves. So we need those 8 from foods, and hemp seeds includes those, and in total 20 of them. So it's a powerhouse when it comes to protein.
And that's the hemp seed. And you can get the hemp seed by the pound at the local bulk barn store.
Yes, you can.
And it's great. We can add that into our. We're going to talk about how to incorporate this in a bit. Yeah. But okay, so we are what we eat. That's the bottom line. So explain why that matters.
Well, we are made out of chemicals. Our whole body is made out of different microbes that creates chemicals, which then becomes hormones and other things, and just our energy levels, everything, you know. So when we're getting any kind of nutrients from foods, then that's what it is that we're going to be built off of. If we're eating chips and breads and pizzas and all those kind of things, you're gonna feel heavy. You're most likely gonna have added weight from mental stresses. You're gonna have added weight in your abdominal areas. When you're eating nutrient-dense foods, you're gonna be, especially if you're eating from the rainbow, you know, all colors of the rainbow, you're gonna be that vibrant light. You're gonna feel light, and you're gonna make a difference in the world, because that's what happens.
Well, maybe not in the world, but at least in your world, in that waking up and feeling
world,
healthy.
right?
It is,
you know?
it is, and that's
we're different with our kids when we're eating better, different, which changes their world, you know.
Well, it also helps too when you're eating a very well-balanced diet. So from the rainbow, I like that terminology. When you're eating the rainbow, you genuinely feel better. That our mind plays a big role in pain management. Not to say that the pain isn't there, but we don't spend as much time or attention on the pain if we're not thinking about it, you know, if we're thinking about more positively. So that being said, what are some absolute essentials for our diet, for a healthy, happy, constructive, good building blocks diet?
So number one would be your macronutrients. That's your carbs, your proteins, your fats.
Okay.
And so for that, you want your carbs to be mainly from high fiber sources. So you want to look for dietary fiber, or which you can get from flax seeds, hemp seeds, and then you can get your, and then also quinoa and other grains. Preferably gluten-free, because there is a rising amount of gluten sensitivities that are coming out in the world today.
Gluten intolerances.
Yeah, and so much work going into the gut microbiome and everything right now. We're finding out a whole bunch of things, how that's related there. And then with our fats, you want the healthy fats that would come from superfood like salmon. You can also find fats in seeds, in coconut oil.
And I heard something about we have to soak our seeds. So you go and you buy these seeds. I had never heard of this. It was you that I saw doing it. And why do we do that? Why?
The reason why I started doing it originally is actually one of the...
Well, let's explain what it is we do first.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna add what nut to our smoothie?
Let's start with almonds. It's usually the base of plant-based milk and things like that. A lot of people are familiar with it right now. So you would take almonds, let's say from Bulk Barn, and you'd put them into some spring water, distilled water, or tap water if you've got a good filter or something. And you leave them overnight, or between 4 to 8 hours. You can leave them 24 hours, but try to rinse the water if you leave them any more than that. You can freeze them afterwards, add them to your smoothies, eat them as is. What happens is you're turning this nut, which essentially is a seed, into a plant. You're sprouting it. You're giving it life force, which then in return gives us more life force, up to 10% or 10 times the nutrient value that it would be.
Compared to if you ate it just raw, hard?
Yes. Plus it's easier to digest. It's got water in it, and it's got life.
Okay. Now, if it's broken down like that, does that help people with, does that mean with people with diverticulosis, or are they able to start introducing nuts in that way into their diet, or is it still on?
It's not something I'm really familiar with, but I would like to think anyway that would be a good starting point for digestion, and things like that would be a lot easier. You can do this with also grains like quinoa, rice, things like that too, to help eat those things and digest them better.
Sorry, I kind of chuckled a little bit when you said rice. We don't mean minute rice.
No minute rice. Sorry, God, it's been so long for me. So you definitely want a whole grain brown rice.
Yeah, whole grain brown rice.
Yeah.
All right. So, you know, Lynn discovered that, I don't know, back in the 1700s when scurvy was a big issue, and it's the reason we call Englishmen limeys, is because he was out sailing and he found out that, you know, vitamin C, when they started to eat the oranges and the lemons or the limes or what have you, that's what cured it. Now, there are a lot of theories right now about a cannabinoid or clinical endocannabinoid condition, which you know, Dr. Ethan Rosso is suggesting that this is the reason we have so many malaises right now, such as irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia, things like multiple sclerosis can be managed very efficiently just through diet and nutrition. What would you say have you studied the cannabis plant at all, and would you call it a superfood?
Most of the study that we're getting in the from medical journals and things like that right now are all about hemp. And hemp is a cannabis. It's
cannabis sativa,
cannabis.
L, yeah.
Yes, so it is definitely a superfood. I'd like to see them do more research into THC and things like that for those different benefits. But right now, yes, it definitely is a superfood.
Yeah, well, you know, with the THC in its raw form, it's a THCA, which is an acid, and I believe it's. It is Dr. Rosso again, the same neurologist and researcher that's been studying clinical endocannabinoid condition. He's also been saying, you know, we need to juice. We need to juice this raw. What are the benefits of juicing?
Juicing is really good because it hits your system right away. All of those nutrients are a lot easier for your body to digest. It goes into the right places a lot easier. But the thing is, I'm actually more of a blender kind of girl. You know, I really love that fiber, and cannabis is a very high fibrous plant. So, like I say, just throw it into anything, just as is, you know?
Yeah, we get it. You know, it's green, green, green. The other thing is alkaline, and we're going to talk about some of the superfoods, and we're going to include cannabis in a very large way when we return from the break. We're going to be cutting to break. When we return, we're going to talk cannabis as a superfood, how to get it into your diet, and why to get it into your diet.
The following program contains a topic which may not be suitable for young viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi there, and welcome back to Cannabis Conversations. Joining me in the studio today is Ashley Michaud from Elemental Growth. We're talking about a plant-based nutritional health diet, for lack of a better term, and we're talking about cannabis, getting cannabis into our diet as a natural supplement. Now, we know that as a superfood, cannabis definitely has medicinal value. It also has significantly high nutritional value. Let's talk a little bit about that if we can.
Yeah, so as I was saying, cannabis has all of the amino acids that we need. It's a complete protein. It's also got very healthy fats in it, which are essential fatty acids, like omega-3s.
Yeah, I think it's the omega-3, 6, and 9 is...
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it's in proper ratio, too, which is kind of unique. You know, there's not a lot of foods that actually have it in the proper ratio. You usually have to get something from here, something from there, and balance and let your body balance it out itself. But this is a complete food.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't remember the exact details, but I did read somewhere that the hemp seed contains all of the nutritional nutritional value, as well as the amino acids and the essential fats and all that sort of thing. Everything we need to survive as humans is contained in that one little seed. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That, you know, I think that's part of what sparked my interest in, wow, why isn't this in our diet? And then I started to realize that there are a lot of people out there promoting it as an edible. One of the things that's important to keep in mind is that if we're using cannabis raw, there is no psychotropic high associated with it. The cannabinoids, THC, CBD, CBC, all of those cannabinoids are still in their acidic form, which means they have an extra arm on that molecule, and they won't attach to the receptors in our brain. It's as simple as that. You can't get high from raw cannabis. So if it's growing in the backyard and somebody grabs a hold of it and starts to munch on it, don't have any worries. They might get an upset belly like if they ate a head of lettuce and shouldn't have, or a head of kale. So it's also very, very high on the alkaline side. Why is having an alkaline diet so important?
Right now, the reason why they're saying it's so important is a lot to do with the gut microbiome and just keeping that balance. I don't want to get into all of that right now because, you know,
we only got 30 minutes.
Yeah, and there's so much. This is such a huge field of study. Alkaline food, though, you know, you do want that if you're eating a lot of the conventional foods, or what I like to call the SAD diet, standard American diet.
Okay, the SAD diet. Yeah. I like that. Okay.
Then, you know, you're gonna want to have more of these alkalized foods to keep that balance. If you're a healthy person and you're eating like a lot of these superfoods, including them into your diet already, I suggest you just keep going, you know.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the ways that we can incorporate. Let's say I've had a really crappy diet. I started to feel like crap. I spoke to someone like yourself, or a coach like yourself who guides in that direction. And you said, first, we got to start with your diet. We got to clean your diet up. I'm a middle-aged woman. I'm not changing that easily. So how are we going to gradually change my diet? What are some of the things I can do today, and how can I utilize cannabis? Because I'm already using cannabis as a medicinal therapy. But I've learned that I can also incorporate this into my diet, which may ultimately help it from a medicinal point of view as well.
So for there's this technique that's called crowding out. And so what you're doing is you're taking all these foods that you know is good for you, and you're trying to focus on including them into your everyday, so that you'll gradually, the more of these that you're eating, your body's going to reprogram itself to crave these foods because it has what your body actually needs to thrive.
And that's it. With cravings, it's because our body knows it needs something. And usually if we've found it in something, whether it's healthy or not, that's what our body, our minds remember and send us right back to.
Especially if that's how we're growing up as children too, right? A lot of us grew up around like all these canned foods. You go in the grocery store, you see all these colors, but when you open up the food, it's really not. It's just the labeling, you know, and...
oh, marketing is very powerful.
yeah, that's where most of the funds go. Sorry, I went off topic a little bit.
No,
there.
that's quite all right. We were talking about, so you were saying crowding out. So we crowd out, so I see what you're saying. Basically, we start to bring in all of these good foods. Our brains start to register that we want that food.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why. Okay, let's talk about some of the ways of putting these foods into our diet. I'm a huge fan of juicing. I'm also a NutriBullet freak. I mean, if I could put it in the bullet, I'm going to try. So what are some of the things? I know one of my favorite recipes, 2 carrots, 2 oranges, a little bit of ginger, and a handful of hemp seed. It is like morning sunshine, summer sunshine in the middle of winter. It's just to spark me up, pick me up, and away we go. So, but you were saying something about the rainbow. So how could you do that, you know?
Well, if we're going to talk recipes and things like that now, some of my favorite ones to do, or actually I had it on my ride here, is I'm really into the anti-inflammatories right now. So things like turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, and cayenne pepper. I made a tea out of that, used a little bit of plant milk, and the leaves actually from the cannabis plant. And that was really nice.
Well, yeah, even the leaves, you know what, I had a note here somewhere, but even the leaves have, let me just take a peek, because I had to write this out today. The leaves have stems and roots contain nutrition for your body. They benefit. The leaves are an excellent source of fiber, magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, and they also contain the polyphenols, which are well-known antioxidants. And they help protect the body against disease.
Yes.
Okay. So you've added this to your bullet this morning?
No, this is just in a tea. I steep it in a French press.
Oh, okay.
So I fill it up about halfway with the hot water.
Right.
And then, of course, all those herbs that I mentioned, which is cinnamon, anti-inflammatory, ginger, anti-inflammatory, turmeric, superfood, and anti-inflammatory. Then the plant milk, which today was with almonds, and the leaves. And you steep that in the hot water about halfway. I'll leave it a minute or two, add milk to the other half, and you can drink that later on during the day if you want more. Top it up with hot water, keep it all day going.
Right. Now, just to add a marker, when you say you add milk, you add almond milk or
it's
coconut
almond milk. It's
okay.
Plant-based milk.
Yeah, you never do anything dairy or meat.
No dairy or meat in our diet. That being said, though, I eat a plant-based diet for my own reasons. A lot of my food is vegan, but I'm all about bio-individuality. So I don't identify with vegan, even though that's most of my food, because you know, if my body says in springtime that I want an egg, or another time of year, maybe I want to go fishing and get some fresh salmon, you know, I allow my body what it needs.
Okay. And what did you call that term?
Bio-individuality.
Bio-individuality. I really like that term.
That's coined by my teacher, Joshua.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. Okay, you know, so we get it. Lots of green, lots of plant-based nutrition.
Yes.
We can incorporate cannabis into our diet through juicing. We can incorporate, and Dr. Ethan Rousseau, Dr. William Courtney is a huge advocate of juicing. I mean, he has staked his career on the value of using cannabis in raw juicing. We can also use cannabis just like any other leaf, though. I mean, you can use it in your salad. Chop it up. Pesto, yeah, pesto. Make some pesto. Couple other.
Any kind of, use it as a herb, put it in, dry it out, put it in a spice shaker, just add it in.
Okay, now if we dry it out, though, does it become activated?
I am not the expert in that.
I kind of am. If you're drying it out in the oven and you are actually decarboxylating the leaf and the bud, which, you know, it means put it in the oven and dry it out at a very low temperature for an extended period of time. That is to remove that acidic arm from it. Which then activates the THC. It can now attach to the receptors in our brain. But what I do to use cannabis as a natural herb is I take all my leaves from the plant and all the trimmings, that sort of thing, and I let them dry out for a couple of days just on a drying rack. And then I crunch them up, bang them up, and put them in a spice jar. So yes, I may have lost the acidic arm, but because I haven't activated it, there's not a significant amount of THC. I'm not going to feel it. It's not going to give me any more of a psychotropic or heady boost than what that shot of carrot orange juice is going to give me, just because it's going to elevate and stimulate the proper hormones in my brain to get me going. But I wouldn't hesitate to have it sprinkled in my spaghetti sauce or what have you.
Yeah.
So we can use it as just a raw leaf, like lettuce or kale. Kale is an amazing superfood.
It's one of my favorite foods.
Very, very harsh for a lot of people, though. They find the taste is very difficult to stomach. What would you recommend for that? Because kale is so important in our diets, especially for health and wellness. We want to get better. It's one of the reasons why cannabis has become so popular, is that it is all of these things. It's nutrition, it's medicine, and it's recreation.
So with kale, one of my favorite things, and if I was going to come back from as a food, it would be kale. I heard this from another girl, and what she said is it's because kale gets massaged. You come back, and that's the way that you eat kale, especially in winter when it's tough. You want to massage it with a little bit of olive oil, massage it with salt, and it loosens up and it breaks everything up, so it's easier to digest. It's has a better taste, and yeah, it's easier
now
to
massage. So what do you mean? You take these leaves, you pour oil on them, and
yeah, you rip them right off of the stem.
Okay.
You can rip them up as you like. You add a little bit of olive oil. You don't need much. It goes a long way. And then you take, I like the salt because I think that it helps break everything in, but you really don't need it.
And again, when you say salt, you're not using regular table salt. You're using the Himalayan rock salt?
Yeah, I use Himalayan rock salt. Another really good one is Celtic sea salt, if you can get your hands on it.
Celtic sea salt?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a few of them that are okay. All different salts have different benefits. I like the pink Himalayan salt because of its energetic benefits. So it's really high ions.
Ions, yeah. Okay. Well, you know what, Ashley? This has been a wonderful conversation, and I really want to have more conversations like this. We're going to talk a little bit more, hopefully, on the internet. Right now, though, our show is over. I'm going to wrap up. The one thing that we have determined is that cannabis is definitely a superfood. We want to get it into our diet. We can do that through juicing. We can do that through salads. We can add it as lettuce, more or less, on our sandwiches. We can also cook with it. Now, if you are cooking with cannabis, remember you're breaking off that acidic arm, which means there will be a psychotropic high associated with that food. So if you're putting it in your baked goods or into your lasagna, don't be feeding it to the children or the neighbors. All right, on that note, I'm Green Irene saying thank you for being here today. Join me again next week when we'll be talking more about cannabis. On that note, thank you, Ashley, very much for being here and sharing all of your information. Be happy, get healthy, and stay strong.